Hey, what is up, Freedom Fighters? Welcome back to another Break the Chains Media here on Rumble and X and YouTube and all the streaming platforms. I am your host, Corey. We are going to be getting into it today. Today is September 8th, 2025. It's been a busy weekend. It's been a shocking weekend for some, but unfortunately an expected weekend for most. We've got a lot of stuff to get into today. We've got to talk about the entire mainstream media apparatus completely ignoring this in cold blood murder of an innocent woman on a North Carolina train line. We're going to get into all that. We're going to cover that information, my breakdown of it, my 2 cents about it. I mean, like, it's been going all over the interwebs outside of mainstream outlets because, they don't want to, paint a bad picture or make it about racial demographics or stereotypes. And to be honest, I don't think anyone will be addressing the race issue. It's more about the ineptitude and the weakness, the fecklessness of these judges, of the people involved in how this psycho demon human was able to be released so many times in the structured policies of the crime system in North Carolina, and how this person has not been put away forever. That is the bigger issue over the issue of race and crime and all of those things. But we're going to get at all of that. We're also going to talk about the rebranding or the return to what has been called the Department of War. And the Department of War is, in my opinion, I think it's the more accurate term to use. Some people don't like it, and we'll get into all that information. We'll get into all of the breakdowns, the partisan politics on why it's good and why it's bad. But I'm also going to be bringing up stuff in regards to Colorado politics, particularly what's happening in the Colorado governor's race, and just the lies and the overt gaslighting that's happening within Colorado, within the Democratic apparatus here in the state of Colorado, and how they literally take us all for fools. So we are going to get into all of that here on today's Monday night Break the Chains Media live stream. If this is the first time joining Break the Chains Media, hit that thumbs up button. Give me a follow. Follow me on Rumble. Follow me on X. Follow me on Instagram. I am putting videos out on YouTube as well. And I'm thinking about, quite possibly, because I've had a YouTube channel for a super long time, since like 2008, and it's probably extremely shadow banned, like thrown into the depths of the YouTube archived world, so it probably gets very to no visibility. I am debating about making a new channel on YouTube, and we're kind of going to play that by ear, but that's neither here nor there, just kind of speaking and thinking out loud here. But thank you for joining us. I appreciate you. I cover Colorado politics as well as national news, all kinds of things: Second Amendment rights, First Amendment rights, constitutional, the backbone, the principle of what it means to be to live in America, and the foundations in which the documents that this country was founded upon, and the reaffirmation of our rights, inalienable rights, given to us by our Creator, and the fact that the government doesn't give it to us, but we are innately given that at birth. Anyone that joined me last Wednesday at the Liberty on the Rocks event, I appreciate any newcomers to the channel, anyone who's out there. I had a great conversation with a lot of people were there. I would say over maybe 40 to 50 people, maybe 40 people or so, somewhere in there, were at the Liberty on the Rocks event last week when I was speaking about localism over globalism, and the whole conversation. It was about a 45-minute conversation I had, and it was a really good breakdown. I am going to be posting that video within this next week, so clips and video will be up on the site as well. I appreciate everyone joining us, and if you guys haven't yet, check out breakthechains.media. That is the landing page. That is the website, breakthechains.media. You can check out all the articles, check out all my socials. It's kind of just a general landing page for everyone to kind of see. I do, like I say at every video, anyone in the chat who's seen this video before, the website's slightly outdated. I do need to update and put some new articles in there. It is my fault. I'm a one-man band here, folks. What can I tell you? I'm the producer. I'm the editor. I'm the content creator. I'm the main cast, the main talent. I am the sound engineer. I am all that is Break the Chains Media. So I appreciate everyone supporting me in my efforts. If you would like to support me in my efforts, check out Realm Walker Hot Sauce. We have multiple different flavors. Right now, I have Asgard, which is the hottest flavor. I also have Muspelheim and Vanaheim. These are all flavors that you can listen to. You can check out. Travel the 9 realms of Norse mythology through hot sauce. So it's all made here in Colorado. It's super delicious. I've got some milder flavors. I got the green ones that are more mild, but highly encourage anyone who likes hot sauce to come check out Realm Walker Hot Sauce. You can find and follow Realm Walker Hot Sauce specifically on Instagram, and you can message either there or through Break the Chains Media if you are interested in picking up your own bottle and supporting the channel. But without further ado, we are going to be moving right into it. I do want to make sure that my stream is not delayed. I know I always forget to check it, but I want to make sure that I'm in good. Without further ado, like my audio is good. We are going to be moving right into it. I do want to make sure that my stream is not my delayed. I know don't work right I always forget to check it, but I want to make sure that I'm in good. If without further ado, like audio is actually going to be moving right into it. I do want to make sure that my headphones, my stream is not my headphones. I know this is. We're going to roll with this. I always forget to check it, but I want to make sure that I'm in good. Thumbs up in the chat if without further ado, like audio is actually going to be moving right into it. I do want to make sure my headphones, my stream is not my headphones. I know this is. We're going to roll with this. I always forget to check it, but I want to make sure that I'm in good. Thumbs up in the chat. If without further ado, audio is actually going to be moving right into it. I do want to make sure my headphones, my stream is not my headphones. I know this is. Wow, hold on. Why is that so bad? My stream is not my headphones. I know this is. It's probably because. We're working with this in real time, folks. I apologize. Let me just not worry about that. Let's do it this way. I'm gonna keep talking, but let's actually. So I've got some great things we can post here. So this is from the actual event. I appreciate everyone who came out to the event. And let's see here. All right. Yeah. I'm watching all of my streams right now, so hold on. Give me 2 seconds, folks. We're hanging out. We're having a good time. Let's see. Do I have a video I can play for you? Maybe, maybe not. Let's see. Because I don't have the means to fix my headset right now. I love it. Hold on. Just trying to make sure that the audio at least is balanced. Perfect. That's all I care about. Thank you. Moving right along because I guess I don't even need these, right? I guess I don't even need these because my headphones don't work, so it's fine. We're going to roll without headphones today. All right. Thank you for hanging out. Welcome to Break the Chains Media. This is what we do. We don't have a studio. We don't have like a big fancy newsroom and a press board of all these people doing all the work for us. It's just me, folks. And I should have double checked my my headphones before we went live. But now you get to see like the new haircut, right? It looks pretty sweet. It looks pretty sick, you know. Yeah. So we're just gonna roll with this. This is gonna be fine. All right. Localism over globalism, forging our future together, cutting through the chaos and create community. Good will prevail. It's time to remind the world of who you are. Thumbs up in the chat if you agree with that, because that was essentially my whole breakdown, my whole essence of the last week's speech at Liberty on the Rocks. Like I said, I will be cutting videos of that, and you'll be able to get highlight reels and the full content of the video later this week. But I did want to touch base. We're going to kind of do a media blast here. Just remember that Merrick Garland at the DOJ labeled concerned parents at school board meetings as domestic terrorists. Remember this, folks. This was post COVID, during COVID, what was happening there. But you see this? Challenge here is finding a federal hook. But White House has been in touch whether we can insist in some form of fashion. Like they were using Tamara Matthews Johnson, she, hers, hers. Look at they got the pronouns in the bio. What more do you need to know? Okay, considering concerned parents post-COVID domestic terrorists. Remember that this is our government, right? Always dropping the real hard-hitting info. Government grifters, highly recommend. We have a full feed. We have a full thread. Let's take a look at the money behind these liberal groups. Follow along. It's all listed here. All the money, all the following, all of this is all publicly available. You can find out. And this ties directly to the conversation I'm going to have in a few minutes regarding liberal politics here in Colorado, progressive politics here in Colorado, and how people in Colorado are just completely fed up with the government grift that's happening right now, and this revolving door of these political transplants, these political candidate transplants that come from other states, enter Colorado's politics, and then totally fundamentally have changed the way Colorado's politics have been. And it's disgusting, and I will not stand for it. But good news, we got good news here. Colorado State Shooting Association fights back, suing Governor Polis for passing SB 25-003, the worst anti-gun bill to hit Colorado. Here's the official press release. Okay? CSSA sues Governor Polis over anti-gun bill. This is fantastic. I highly encourage everyone to get involved. I actually do have, where is it? I do have it over here. Do I have it saved? No. I have a plan. I have another plan. This is my plan. My plan was doing this because, so that's there. I'm going to go up here and go here because this is what I wanted to show you. Colorado State Shooting Association. You need to follow this channel. Anyone who's in the Second Amendment community, anyone who supports gun rights, advocate for the right of self-defense, lives in Colorado or not. It doesn't really matter. But anyone who supports the Second Amendment needs to follow this channel. Follow them and go check out this link. And this is the breakdown of how they're fighting the Polis gun ban. Okay, they have an event coming up in a few weeks. It's September 20th and 21st from 9 to 5. So it's all day long, all weekend long. Okay, Magnum Shooting Center in Colorado Springs. So I highly recommend anyone to show up and participate and help this. It's a fundraiser event because the legal fees are going to be extremely expensive. This will be expensive to fight against the establishment machine for our Second Amendment rights. Because once they start going into discovery, once they start breaking down all of the ins and outs and all the files and information that regarding this case and the legality and the judicial process, it gets very expensive very quick. So I highly encourage everyone to follow this channel, get involved, and come down to the Shots for Freedom event put on by the Colorado State Shooting Association. And you can find all this information here on their X account, CSSA 1926, on their X account and on their website as well. So I posted this on my feed, so feel free to follow me, follow them, get involved, and tell a friend about it too, because it's a range event and banquet. It's a family-friendly experience, and we got to take Colorado back. And it starts, technically it starts with the First Amendment, because it is the First Amendment for a reason. And this is why I do what I do, because we're using the First Amendment right here, right now. But when all else fails, what comes next? What comes after the First Amendment? The Second Amendment. So we have to fight for our Second Amendment with our First Amendment. And that's what we're doing right now. So get involved, get active, and follow all these people involved, because they're going to need it. If it's $5, $10, $20, I'm sure any donation they can take will benefit the cause, benefit the fight. So yeah, we just need to make sure everyone knows that this is an upcoming thing, and we're not going anywhere. Colorado is a Colorado's born and bred fighters, and we have to stand up against this Marxist takeover that's infected our state over the last decade, 15, 20 years. So, and we're going to get into all that here. But I know you guys have been hanging out. You guys have been waiting. I appreciate you guys. But we are going to be shifting gears here. We are going to speak about this evil and disgusting human who decided. Oh wait, actually, fuck. Apologies. We're taking, because it all ties together, and I want to really hit on this. This is an important article, and it segues right into what we're the conversation we're having, right? So, what are our thoughts? And let me know in the chat. What are our thoughts when it comes to the rights of the government to determine who can and cannot own a firearm? And I had this conversation on my X account over the weekend. Okay, I've had a lot of posts, a lot of engagement, which is really good. But should the government be the one to determine who can and cannot own a firearm? Or better yet, like the way that this article frames it through CNN. From CNN, Trump DOJ is looking at ways to ban transgender Americans from owning guns, sources say. All right, well, two things can be right at the same time, okay? And this is my opinion, this is my take, and it's actually backed by science, okay? So gender dysphoria is a DSM-5 mental illness categorized by the medical industry, medical fields, right? Medical doctors have said gender dysphoria is a DSM-5 mental illness, okay? Now, using that precedent as a means to the end of suspending your Second Amendment rights is inherently a slippery slope and dangerous precedent. Sets a dangerous precedent for the government to be the ones determining who can and can't own firearms, correct? This is why I'm a Second Amendment absolutist. I believe everyone should have firearms. I believe if we armed the entire population, a lot of things would sort themselves out rather quickly, right? We would end up having a society, we would have a much more respectable society, a much more effective society, and a lot less unaliving and crime and destruction and chaos in our cities, as we're going to see in our next article that I'm going to segue in very fantastically, I assure you. But this is the problem, folks. I do not subscribe the government to be the arbiters of truth and the arbiters of reality when it comes to who can and cannot own a firearm. And I know that might be a contested opinion, especially for those who might believe that transgender individuals do not have the right to own firearms because of their DSM-5 mental illness. If you want to follow that thought process, that line of logic. However, my line of logic stays sound in the fact that the government does not have the right to infringe upon who can and cannot defend themselves. It is our right to defend ourselves regardless of government legality and government definitions of who can and cannot. So I will defend a transgender's right to own firearms so long as they're not harming and hurting others. That is the problem, right? There is the caveat, because as soon as you start infringing on another person's right to life, that's when we're going to have an issue, correct? If a transgender individual or any individual decides to do something violently, that is where the conversation changes, correct? Everyone has the right to defend themselves. Everyone has a right to be armed and stay armed. Stay strapped or get clapped. Am I right? That's kind of how I see it. I hope, yeah, I see you, Colin. Thank you. Agreed. Cheers to that. It is an interesting article or a discussion, especially when you're talking with other conservatives or maybe more religious-based conservatives who have differing opinions on transgender individuals. And I firmly believe that as as soon as violence or danger or exploitation of someone else's rights with a firearm, that's when we have a larger conversation. Correct? So, point of the matter is, everyone should be armed. Everyone should be educated, trained, and armed. And we need to remove the taboo of the Second Amendment, or excuse me, remove the taboo of what it means to protect yourself with firearms, right? Not the taboo of the Second Amendment, but removing this, ooh, scary gun be scary, cannot do it, right? That's what we need to step away from. And this is what I said. I said this weeks ago. I said, remember when I said that they would use the trans argument as a Trojan horse to ban gun ownership? It's a slippery slope that sets a precedent that the government can decide who can and can't own a firearm. However, lunatics were not considered sane for militia. What do you think? And this is a good like logical, assessment, because during the founding father era, when they signed and created these documents, the term lunatic, or someone suffering from lunacy, was a person who was not deemed safe or effective to participate in the militia. Therefore, the curtailing of the right of firearm ownership was expressed. However, during that time, arguably, we had a much less tyrannical government than we do today. And I know that if you give any government, even a favorable government, it doesn't. Honestly, the term favorable government's almost like an oxymoron, like jumbo shrimp, right? There is no favorable government. The only favorable government, in my opinion, is self-government, and sound logic, and being a person who can operate within a society, within other people, and of self-governance of others. However, where was I going? I was basically saying, even if a favorable government, like right now, let's say hypothetically, the Trump administration decides to follow through with this transgender gun ban, which is, I think, bullshit. It's a terrible idea. Okay, let's say 5-10 years from now, we're in some autocratic hellscape, and and hypothetically, God, hopefully this never happens, but let's say the Marxists win, the communists win, and then they use the same language that Trump is using now, and saying anyone who believes in a nuclear family and having 2 children and a heterosexual normative relationship, that's considered mental illness. Therefore, anyone who has a firearm and suffering a mental illness, like having a nuclear family and heterosexual normative behavior, that's a mental illness. So we're going to come take your guns. Do you see how that works? They're going to weaponize it no matter what. So we can't let them weaponize it at all, right? Thumbs up in the chat if you agree with that. Colin, I see you. Thank you, brother. Thanks for chiming in. Good to see you again, man. Yeah, so that's where I stand with that, and that ties right into. I'm going to bounce back around, but we got to go to the hot topic issue that's been completely ignored by our mainstream media today. That's why Break the Chains Media here is doing it now. I know a couple other now that the weekend has come through, and to be honest, I would rather see this news report get a Monday news review than a Friday news review, because stories go to die on a Friday. Monday is when we can use the whole week to have this conversation about this serious issue. And this is what I talk about. This is a beautiful segue, because when I say arm everyone, I mean we should arm everyone. Everyone should be trained. Everyone should be educated on how to operate a firearm, trained on when and when not to use firearms, and remove this scary black gun ethos around firearms in the public as a whole, right? He's not a man. He's an evil, demonic hell from the depths of fucking Cerberus himself. Cerberus the dog, spit him out. Excrement, dog excrement. This man, this evil goblin creature, was convicted. Let's count him here. Like, we want to be. Do you want to be count? Count from Sesame Street. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That might not be him though. Honestly, that looks like a different guy. Let's say 13 times. Okay, 12 or 13 times at least. We cannot use the left might do it later argument because no matter what, they will do it. Completely agree on everyone should have a gun and be trained. 100% agree. Thanks for jumping in again, Case Bauman. I can't. There's sound argument there. Like, yeah, everyone needs to be trained. We need to remove the taboo. This woman would be alive today for two reasons. First of all, this repeat offender, this repeat criminal, this like I said, the the dog excrement, this demonic individual should have been locked away for years. He should have never been in public. Should have never even been on that train in the first place. But what happened? Let me pull it up here because I forgot to pull it up because that's what happens all the time. I think what was his name? I think if I do that, I should be able to pull it up. No. Yes, this is it. From the Daily Mail. From the Daily Mail, folks. Judges promise let career criminal walk free to butcher Ukrainian refugee after his mom, his mother, his own mother, said he should be locked up. Okay? See, now at least there's articles, there's news reports coming out today. This was published earlier today, okay? I also have another article from the Charlotte Observer that we're going to read. Rest in peace, Irina Zartuska. Like what a terrible situation that she whatever your take is on the Ukrainian crisis, it's a shame that she came here to hopefully live a better, long and fulfilling life. And she ended up coming here only to be stabbed and unalived in a American city from no fault of her own. Just because a purely demonic individual decided to just break his I can't even fathom the level of brain destruction that happened in his head, you know? Absolutely horrible. Hey, what's up, Zen CG? Appreciate you jumping in. So I've got two different articles here. And like I said, a lot of the articles are being reported now, which is good. It's a Monday. But this was a news story for like 2 or 3 days. I think it came out on Friday, and no one was talking about it. Everyone was losing their minds about it, right? Online. This was covered September 6th from Libs of TikTok. Okay? The judge let this person go. This is the judge that let Magistrate Judge Teresa Stokes bail DeCarlos Brown Jr. Oh, I didn't even want to say his name. What an evil goblin. DBJ in January, around 7 months before, police say he went on to unalive Irina Zartuska. What a disgusting human. On August 22nd. So this has been a thing for a while. This happened a few weeks ago. We're just now finding out about this. And the news was not reporting about this. That is even more sickening. Yeah, well, it's just so sad that this is the world we have to live in. This is the world that people have, like situational awareness is real. Self-defense is real, but this is the problem here, folks. We're living in a society where more and more of our rights are being taken away, and we have to live in someone else's responsibility to protect me, right? And there's a lot of people that are having this conversation about, if the National Guard were there, if there were heightened security and this, that, and the other, we wouldn't have this issue. You know what? You know what solves all of this? Is break the taboo of self-defense, of the right to self-defense, concealed carry, and owning and managing your own right to life and self-preservation. Unfortunately, not everyone does. Not everyone believes that way, and there are people who fundamentally will never want to own a firearm for themselves. Did you see the bill? I think it's a Texas rep put forward that a judge who allows career criminals free can be prosecuted. I think that's fantastic. I think you are right. Is it? I don't know if it's a Texas state bill. I feel like it might be. I thought it was a national bill. But I did see something along that line where absolutely 100%. I feel like Massey or someone reposted it. Maybe that's how I got it mixed up. But if a judge or an attorney or some sort of the problem with the system, right? And this is the innate issue, right? Is our system of government has been fundamentally broken to such degrees that there is no accountability. The system is broken. When I talk to people about Colorado's election integrity, and I talk about election interference and what Jenna Griswold did, and these transplant, Phil Weiser, Polis, Governor Bennett, not Governor Bennett. He will never be our governor. I refuse to accept that he will be our governor on an honest and fair election. But when all these people are transplanted politicians who then inject their policies, who inject their way of governing into our institutions, and they fundamentally change how our DA system works, our judicial system works, the decriminalization. Prime example, Polis decriminalized fentanyl. So should Polis be responsible for the amount of fentanyl-related deaths, directly related fentanyl deaths, because the decriminalization of fentanyl? I think that there's a valid argument there, folks, and I think Case Bauman brings up a really good point. If these judges who allow criminals to walk free, and there's also a tangent because a lot of prisons are for-profit prisons. We don't have room for prisons because prisons are full 90% to 100% capacity on small misdemeanor crimes. There has to be a fundamental delineation line between non-violent or no victimless crimes, right? Victimless crimes. I feel like there's an argument to be had of a lesser sentencing. But if we're going to have direct crime, whether it's assault, battery, robbery, grand theft auto, larceny, all these things, right? There are so many ways that we can move around this issue and directly affect. Yes, bills should be put in place for these judges, prosecutors, DAs, attorney generals, whatever have you, anyone in the judicial system, anyone in the legislative system. If you're gonna decriminalize certain degrees of things, yeah, we need to hold these people accountable because they're actively destroying our way of life, and they actively unalive this one here. She is a direct. Now, unfortunately, she is a statistic and a direct result of inept and weak, spineless, disgusting, pathetic judges. Judges like this one here. It's disgusting this is the situation we have to have in our society, right? What did Trump say about it? President Donald Trump speaks during his visit to North Carolina taking office on Friday. I just give my love and hope to the family of the young woman who's unalived in Charlotte by a madman, a lunatic, just got up and started to... It's right on tape. It's not really watchable because it's so horrible. It's just so horrible. Viciously stabbed. She's just sitting there. It is disgusting, and to a level, it sucks at his level of desensitization in our society, but it shouldn't be. We should be like, this is 100% in cold blood. Okay? Court system criticized over past cases. This is exactly what you were addressing. In her latest statement on killing issue Monday evening, Charlotte's Democrat Mayor V. Lyles joined some Republicans in criticizing the court system for handling of past charges against the demon who did this. She described the situation as a tragic failure by the courts and magistrates and called for a bipartisan solution to address repeat offenders who do not face consequences for their actions and who cannot get treatment for their mental illness and are allowed to be on the streets. Well, guess what? Trump's got a solution. Bring back insane asylums. Make institutionalization great again. We need to bring back institutionalized people because there's a rash, there's a disease of people all over the country who need to be institutionalized. And think about the job market that would incline. You know, I mean, I think that would be a great incentivization to have people working and fielding these industries. If the left wants caseworkers and social workers to come, if they want to, you know, we can use this as a really good argument. If they want to defund the police, or all cops are bad cops, you know, ACAB, right? If they're using this line of logic, let's say, okay, well, how about instead of sending out a social worker to a domestic violence dispute or some sort of aggravated assault or robbery or whatever case have you, so so people don't get shot by the police, instead of sending out a social worker, let's just have a big building where these social workers could work out of, and all of these people who are creating the social and societal decay in our society can be put in that building. You know, if you don't want to play in the boundaries of a civilized society and not harm or affect anyone else's right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, you should be thrown in an institutionalized building. That's my 2 cents. Let me know in the chat what you guys think, but I think that would solve a lot of problems, and I think Trump's talking about that too. I mean, I think there's a huge, larger conversation with how it ties in with the National Guard. It ties in with this whole federalizing of using federalized forces to enact safety measures in cities. Example, DC. Example, LA. Now they're talking about Chicago, right? So there's a larger conversation to be had about this, right? It is pretty ridiculous. It is pretty sad that we have to sit here and see this is the world in which we live. But folks, if you enjoy these kind of rants, these kind of conversations, give me a thumbs up in the chat. Let me know what you think. Follow this page. Follow my X account, Break the Chains M, Instagram. You can, share this with your friends and family. If you don't, I am not a suit and tie talking head guy. Okay, I'm just a dude in the office. I've got my comics in the back. I've got my, the Boonies board right there. I don't know if I can say that on the YouTube stream, but you can read it. It's right there. But got a lot of good stuff here, folks. But wrapping up with this. Anyone ever read the book In Cold Blood? Evil exists, and we must do everything we can to eradicate it from the earth. Arm and train yourself, and always be aware of your surroundings. May her soul be avenged and rest in peace. That's what I posted. That is what I posted. It's never been about red versus blue. They make us believe that. It's always been freedom versus tyranny. We need to act on that. That is where we're at, folks. And this is my awesome post about Colorado and what's happening in Colorado. But before I do that, I want to talk about the Department of War. Okay? The Department of War, my 2 cents. We're going to make a quick take on the Department of War conversation. So, a lot of people out there are saying, this is a bad take, it's a bad look. We shouldn't be promoting, an antagonistic rhetoric and using the word war in our governmental offices and bodies, right? And while I do understand that train of thought, I am sick and tired of our government using Orwellian doublespeak and obfuscation of what it really means, and the words in which they are the words that they are employing for the end goal in which they are implementing. Example, the Patriot Act. right? The Patriot Act is a beautiful example of what Orwellian doublespeak is, right? And let's, actually I have it pulled up here. Okay. What is doublespeak? Okay, we're not going to go all the way through it, and like for anyone who isn't aware, like this is just kind of a quick summary. But highly encourage everyone to read 1984 by George Orwell, so you can really understand what the Ministry of Truth is, and what the Ministry of Thought is, and what doublespeak means, and thought crimes, right? Thought crimes ties right into pre-crime, which ties right into Minority Report, which ties right into dystopian, weird, totalitarian, technocratic, surveillance states. Very strange, but doublespeak is a language meant to trick people and can be understood in more than one way. In politics, doublespeak helps hide true intentions, like when lifting a ban still seems beneficial. Doublespeak uses fancy words to change the meaning or hide truth about situations. Okay? But yeah, so my example was, and we don't need to okay, so look, this is great right here. Okay? This is great. When we're talking about Orwellian doublespeak, and we're talking about the Department of War, okay? War and peace, okay? I remind the soldiers and their families that the war in Iraq is really about peace. Is it? How is a war about peace? How is death and destruction of civilians in a foreign country, and drone striking innocent mothers, daughters, children, fathers, sons? How is that peaceful? Okay, this is how they use that rhetoric, and applying that to what we called the Department of Defense. Okay, why would we call the department in which institutes, mobilizes, and strategizes war efforts globally to other countries in America's interest, why would that be called the Department of Defense for no other reason than to make it more palatable to the population to say, oh, it's okay, it's for our defense. It's for America's defense. That's why they're doing this. They're doing this to make us safe. Okay? I am in favor of rebranding our Department of War to exactly that. It should be called the Department of War. It should have never been called the Department of Defense, because they are an institution of war. Like, it's very simple. I am in favor of getting rid of Orwellian doublespeak languages. Okay, I brought up the Patriot Act. When they instituted the Patriot Act post 9/11, they made it feel that they named it that way, even though it was an acronym. They named it that way, so that way the public would be comfortable with body cameras, surveillance state, facial recognition, the total invasion of your privacy, the ritualistic, like the humor and the what's the word, the ritual of going through TSA, right? This humiliation ritual of taking your shoes off and getting patted down. I've never once, not once, not never stood in one of those goddamn body scanners. I never will, and I never, you'll have to pull me dragging. I will never go into that body scanner. But every time I refused, I had to be publicly made an example of by getting just shy of a cavity search in the TSA line, right there and then, a complete stranger just groin grabbing me all the way up through and around the taint. Okay? But this is a humiliation ritual, but they named this the Patriot Act. They named it the Patriot Act because if you don't support the Patriot Act, then you're not patriotic, right? This is the same mindset of the Department of Defense and the Department of War, okay? Politico. Pentagon officials fume over Trump's Department of War rebrand. Is this serious? Read the subtitle or read the subheadline, right? employees could find themselves changing Department of Defense seals on more than 700,000 facilities around the world. Oh no, whatever will we do? They have to change seals of government institutions. Oh my gosh. Imagine what the horror is. Terrible. Many expressed frustration, anger, and downright confusion at the effort, which could cost billions of dollars for a cosmetic change that would do little to tackle the military's most pressing challenges, such as countering a more aggressive alliance on authoritarian nations. Why? Did you read that? I mean, that is essentially, in essence, doublespeak right there. That sentence. Okay? Tackle the military's most pressing challenges, such as countering a more aggressive alliance of authoritarian nations. That's basically saying we have to go head on to these authoritarian nations, and we have to really hammer it home. There ain't nothing about defense with them. Okay. The detail of the order of stage signed Friday are still vague, but officials might need to change the Department of Defense seals in more than 700,000 facilities, 40 countries, and all 50 states. Like, this is the entire article talking about using doing the rebrand. Okay? Yeah. We won World War I, we won World War II, we won everything before that and in between. Then we decided to go woke and change the name of the DoD. I argue, I'm sick and tired of hearing people say using the word term woke. I'm actually actively trying to not use that word just to separate myself from it being overused the way it is. But yeah, we're going to use the Department of War as a formal name change. Will likely require an act of Congress. So yeah, all of this is just executive orders, but an act of Congress would make it official. How they're going to avoid a congressional vote, I don't know. Secretary Pete Hegseth refers himself as Secretary of War. Yeah. I mean, this is all... It makes sense, though. Okay? It definitely makes sense for what it is. Okay? It's the executive order right here. I mean, I'm not going to do this whole breakdown, but September 5th, Department of War, I'm in support of it because I'm sick and tired of being lied to by our government by saying and naming things that they aren't. End of story, right? If you like what I do, if you like my rants, give me a thumbs up, folks. Appreciate y'all hanging out. I posted this in context to the previous evil, disgusting human who decided to unalive that innocent, beautiful Ukrainian woman. Tina Peters is in prison while douche canoe bootlicker brown trash face was walking free. Think about that. Evil. 70-year-old Gold Star mother challenges the corrupt Colorado election system, is in prison while a monster with multiple arrests was let loose to unalive an innocent woman. The left, the Democrats, perpetuate decay and corruption. Okay? Did you know that liberal spelled backwards is asshole? Hey, if they can make up shit, so can we. Right? It's a joke. It's funny. Haha. You know, I know exactly what I'm doing. It's trying, you got to laugh. Folks, laugh about it. Please. I'm sick of these leftists and statist bureaucrats weaponizing every aspect of our government against freedom-focused individuals. I've boiled it down to the 5 Fs. And I think there's more than 5, but these were the top 5. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments if you want to add any more Fs to this list. You got firearms. You got freedom. You got family. You got faith. You got fucking. Absolutely. That's what I think. Let me know if you think anything different. You can add them. Follow me on X if you're interested. If you can add more to the chat here. If Colorado Democrats were actually honest, this would be the kind of post that we'd see from our governor. Governor Polass. We overspent and decided to tax businesses even further. That's how friendly we are with them. That's obviously a photoshopped image or not Photoshop, but that is a re-edited image of actual Governor Polis's, you know, Governor Polis's actual post. Because here's the actual post that he posted earlier today. Wow. Star Trek Day, huh? Beautiful. He posted this earlier, and this is what the Colorado Republicans took. Okay? New reports show Colorado is top 10 best state to work and top 10 best state to start a business. That is a huge, gigantic, steaming pile of dog shit. Actually, dinosaur shit. I'm going to post it. I'm actually, in real time. We're going to post in real time, folks. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're doing this in real time, folks. Thanks for hanging out with the live stream. But this is what we do. Oh wait, There we go. You know, I just love being a reply guy for Polis. You know. No, honestly though, it is probably Colorado's probably one of the worst states to be a business owner in, because they've now raised our taxes. They've raised business taxes, independent businesses, because of their ineptitude of spending and their financial mismanagement. Colorado is also a very, like, there's so many fees and bureaucracy, red tape. And the cost of living and how much you actually have to work to get ahead in this state is insane. It's incredible. They are so disconnected. These Colorado Democrats are so disconnected. They literally don't even realize what they're doing. Okay, make McCarthyism great again. Stand up and cheer with me, folks, because this is important. Communists aren't people, and there's no place for them in any capacity in our constitutional republic. We rise up against Colorado, California, New York City, Chicago, and other leftist controls enclaves. Patriots unite. We stand for truth and liberty. Thumbs up in the chat if you agree. Share this with another patriot, with another anti-communist comrade. I use that term intentionally, folks. I used it intentionally. Okay. This is important. We are wrapping up here, folks. A few more minutes, and we'll be doing. We will be dropping a raid in about T-minus 10 minutes, maybe, and we'll jump in here, and we will be raiding momentarily. But in the meantime, we're gonna wrap up with this. We got some really good stuff here. With all these recent earthquakes and natural disasters happening all over the world, Colorado needs to be prepared. Types of geologic faults. You got the normal fault, you got the reverse fault, you got the transverse fault, and your fault would be believing lawmakers in Colorado need more of your money when they're funneling hundreds of millions of dollars to themselves, their friends, and their, quote, non-profits. That would be your fault. If you're not involved, if you're not aware of what's going on, that is a struggle. That is a problem. Coloradans here are sick of grifters, scam artists, fiscal mismanagement, and progressive leftist policies that have made Colorado unsafe and have ruined the state. Colorado desperately needs to vote all of these Marxist political transplants out. And this is the article that I'm going to be jumping in on right here, right now. It is actually not that article. It is this article. This is the article. From the Denver Post. Colorado voters curdle on top Democrats, including Governor Polis and U.S. senators, amid the party's slide. Okay? Democrat approval is an all-time low right now, even though somehow Democrats control all aspects of Colorado's state legislature for the last fucking 10 years. But, suddenly they're finally, maybe people are actually starting to catch on. Maybe my ranting, maybe my raving, maybe people are actually starting to wake up to how inept these these Marxist progressive leaders in Colorado are. They're not even leaders. They're just dictators. They're just brand ambassadors for their one world order globalist overlords. That's all they are. Okay, so look at how smug and evil these look. I really quick before I get into the article, I got to show you this video of Muppet Bennett over here. Where is he at? The Muppet, the absolute Muppet.
Grilling
guy. I don't have a headphone, so hopefully it's on the level and it's not bad. So here we go.
Hello, everybody. It's Michael Bennett. I just finished grilling Robert
Muppet.
Kennedy. His leadership is catastrophic for America
Bennett,
the American healthcare
Bennett tried to grill
system.
RFK.
This is about fighting for American kids, American parents, and American families who are getting complete disinformation on vaccines from Donald Trump's Secretary of Human Services.
He's like,
we need to let them know that we will not.
He literally
stand for this in
he sounds like Mr. Mackey. Is it Mr. Mackey from South Park? Okay. No. His reckless lies endanger public health. Colorado parents, kids, and schools deserve better than RFK Jr. Okay? I hope I did that good. Was that good? Maybe. I always like making my voices, right? You know this. We know this. All right, but let's go back to the article here. Okay? Colorado's top elected Democrats are all underwater, with Colorado voters a little over a year out from being the big 2026 midterm elections, according to a new poll released on Monday. U.S. Senator Michael Bennett and John Hickenlooper have notched approval ratings below 40% in the poll, with their disapproval rating reaching 44 and 49% respectively. Governor Polis' approval rating was slightly better at 41, though it came in with a caveat that majority of voters, 52%, outright disapproved of the term-limited governor. Look, like, the way they even write, the Denver Post even writes the term-limited. Okay, yeah, we all know he's term-limited, but 52% of Coloradans disapprove of Governor Polis. Can you make that the goddamn headline? Can you make that the headline? Okay? Broomfield-based Magellan Strategies. The rotten marks for the politicians fall within Colorado's voter general malaise for politics. Both the Republican and Democrat parties have identical top-line favorabilities of 68 negative versus 30% positive, albeit with different undercurrents, driving the disdain for either. Majority of Colorado voters in the survey thought the state was on the wrong track. You don't say. You don't say. You take a look around. You take a look at the state of decay here in Colorado. We are living in the left coast lunatics like mindset that destroyed California and Oregon and Seattle. Okay? All these places. Okay? Now they're infecting Colorado, but on a fast track. I feel like we're on a fast track out here because we have no political opponents to this Marxist creep. I wouldn't even want to call it a creep anymore. It's an outright blitzkrieg. It's a Marxist blitzkrieg that's happening in Colorado right now. And that's why I do what I do here on Break the Chains Media, and I talk vocally about it to hopefully make a change here in Colorado. Okay? Quote, although Colorado remains a blue state, the well-documented decline in the National Democrat Party's image, rating, and brand is a real and apparent among Colorado voters. David Flaherty, a CEO of Magellan, said in an email. However, he added, it does not mean Trump and the Republicans are winning over hearts and minds. If they were, the wide range of Trump policies we tested would be getting better job approval ratings. Okay? But I genuinely believe that there is a backbone to this intent, this noticeable, palpable shift in what is happening in Colorado. And this article is a great example. I don't always like using the Denver Post as my source material, but this is a respectful, reasonable article, and you got a good polling from a state local polling source. So we are getting accurate information to an extent. I genuinely believe that it doesn't really matter about the Trump Republicans or the MAGA Republicans. What really is more important and really matters more is that people in Colorado are sick and tired of the the progressive left policies that have destroyed the state in which we knew to be 10 years ago. Colorado 10 years ago is not the Colorado we're living in today. It is substantially different in faith and form and freedoms. Our gun rights, our Second Amendment rights, our compelled speech, this whole gender dead naming law that just passed. They just this last legislative session they passed 500 and something odd, just shoved it down the Colorado residents' throat. State legislature just bombarded us with extreme, unreasonable legislative bureaucratic bullshit and bloat. Raising taxes, they're trying to take away our Tabor rights. Like, they're outright saying it now. And I have videos, and I do have videos and segments that I will be posting this week in support of my statements saying that these Democrats in Colorado are actively trying to destroy the state. And they're using this term of they're using doublespeak, and they're using false framing narratives and gaslighting, okay, to separate the public from reality and truth. That's really what's happening right now. They're doing everything they can to make sure the Colorado residents particularly do not get the full and whole picture, and then they project the blame. Oh, it's the GOP's fault. It's the Republicans' fault. As is always politics. They always point blame back and forth at each other. But this is genuinely a real thing that's happening in Colorado, and it couldn't be more palpable. The NGOs that these Democrats work through and launder their money around with, and they make backdoor deals with, and then negotiate tactics with. Like, this is how they've played the game. This is how Griswold's in office. This is how Weiser's been AG. This is how Polis and the blueprint, the blueprint for Colorado is a book that came out. There's an entire backbone of evidence that states how they institutionalized this progressive blue shift in Colorado over a 10-year span. 10 to 15 years, they had this projected plan to turn Colorado from what it was back in the early mid-2000s into where it is today. A communist Frankenstein monster of everything bad about California politics and everything worse about East Coast politics. Like, this is and then let's get conspiratorial here. It's not really conspiracy, but Colorado and Denver is the backup headquarter for the capital of the United States. So if DC does ever fall, God forbid, or God willing, if DC ever falls, Colorado is the backup capital of the United States of America. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting that they're trying so hard to push these progressive policies down our throats to break Colorado from the Wild West it once was? Okay? Colorado is ground zero for election interference and progressive Marxism. When tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. This applies to feckless and weak activist judges, progressive DAs and attorney generals, and radical leftist legislatures. Stand with me, Break the Chains Media, and fight back. Colorado's budget has grown 50% in 7 years, but legislators want to raise taxes even more. Colorado's budget is $44 billion. Legislators need to cut $800 million. What do? Raise taxes instead. Colorado Secretary of State Jenna Griswold finally in focus for what she did to Tina Peters, and it's only going to get worse. Okay? I've got the article here. Dems desperate to deflect blame. Oh, no, not this one. This one. DOJ requests to put Jenna Griswold's election records under scrutiny. We're going to make a standalone video with this and more tomorrow. We are wrapping up here with Break the Chains Media, but I'm just kind of like bounced around here on these last little days, on these last little things, right? This is a great one. This one, excellent repost. I highly recommend checking out Break the Chains M on X to get this article from thedenver7.com. Federal investigation of Colorado spending our tax dollars on illegal immigrants. Would you look at that? It's almost like I've been talking about this for weeks and weeks. If you've been following the channel for any period of time, you'd have known I've been barking about this for a long time, folks. 38% of our state budget goes to healthcare costs. The entire the entire state budget, $44 billion. 38% of that goes to healthcare. So what's the math on that? Was about 40% of 44 million. What is that? Is that 10%? It's about what, $20 billion, let's say $18 billion of Colorado state budget goes to healthcare costs. Overall state healthcare costs, that's everything. Estimates of 18% of that, let's say 20 billion. Let's say 20 billion. 18% of that 20 billion goes to illegal immigrants' health care. So that's averaging $4 billion a year of Colorado state money is funding illegal immigrant health care. And the Colorado Democrats blame the GOP and the Trump big beautiful bill for its fiscal shortfall. Give me a goddamn break, okay? Excellent article here on my X page. You can check that out, okay? Wyoming tourism versus Colorado's Office of Tourism. One of these square states was placed on hormone replacement therapy against its will. Got Wyoming, the square sister states, right? And you got Colorado. Amazing. So brave and stunning, right? Yep, folks. I appreciate everyone jumping in on this live stream. I'm just kind of wrapping up right now, seeing if I missed anything. I mean, we could keep going on about other stuff. I think, removal of Space Force headquarters, Fed's investigation of funds to illegals, ICE raids, all these things have been happening in Colorado. Hopefully, next on the list of Colorado's road to reclamation here, on the road of retribution. What is it? I don't know. End trans indoctrination in schools and stop hiring child offenders for school jobs. That's a huge issue in Jefferson County schools, and Jefferson County superintendent here. A lot of hot water regarding the harming of children in the Jeffco school board and districts. Abolishing unconstitutional Second Amendment laws. Election integrity, I think, is a massively important issue here in Colorado. And prosecute compromised officials. We have to hold these people accountable. Okay? We have to hold them accountable. Okay? But yeah, I think we are going to be wrapping up this live stream here, folks. Yeah, definitely you got to jump on my X. Check out Colorado State Shooting Association. We're going to be doing a breakdown video. We're going to do a specific video about the CSSA lawsuit against the unconstitutional semi-automatic and firearms bill. They are going to be doing a fundraiser event for that September 20th, 21st. More to come about that information in upcoming live streams. More to come with that videos regarding that. I am going to be posting out some more of my some more shorter segments and shorter videos. And like I said, I might be trying to do a new YouTube channel just to see if I can get some new fresh exposure with the same content under a new channel, because I know YouTube probably shadow banned my my old YouTube channel a long time ago. So we're going to try out some new stuff, but more maybe short digestible clips, less not less live streams, but using my live streams as a backbone and then making shorter little segments of the other content. But folks, I appreciate you hanging out. I appreciate you joining me with all these live streams. Tomorrow is Tyranny Response Tuesday. We're going to be doing a great breakdown video for that. And stay in tune, stay in touch. Follow me for more Colorado politics, more national politics, more commentary. I'm not a dude in a suit. I'm just a guy in a studio speaking my mind, bringing truth to power. We are going to be jumping into we're doing a raid here. We're doing a raid in to the one and only Beanie Compound. So hopefully here we can get that going. Folks, I appreciate you. I love you. I appreciate you. And until next time, and as always, fight for freedom and never give up.